like realistically, I was like quarantined for like 5 months, maybe more. I think like I hadn't seen any of my friends for about a year, like maybe minus a couple of days. Welcome back to Filling You In. I'm Coco, and with me is my co-host Subash. And today we have an interesting episode, and that's because it's requested by you guys. Today we're going to be talking to COVID. Subash will give an overview of like what the episode will look like, but yeah, that's the topic for today.
Yeah, so basically, guys, today's topic is all about COVID-19. We personally want to do this episode for a while, but not just that. It's like this episode is it's definitely something that's meaningful because COVID-19 has been such a prevalent topic in both of our lives, and I think everybody's lives, the world's life. And I think we've all had similar experiences as far as like the quarantine aspect of it goes, and like we're all home, we all got trapped. But I think something that isn't talked about as much is like the mental health aspect of it all. Like we we navigated our thoughts through a variety of different like lanes and like twists and turns, and it was just something that I don't think I've ever talked about with anybody. It's not like a depressing thing, but it's just something that especially for teenagers and growing up and like learning about the world, that we had to deal with in a different way than our parents did, or people like that didn't have to go through high school during a world pandemic, which
Yeah.
is quite the rare experience. So
Yeah. I mean, so when did you first hear about COVID-19?
I first heard about COVID-19 when, like, I would say early March of 2020. I think that's when it started popping in the news. It might have been earlier. I think April, March. It was just like something that people were talking about, and I heard it like it was something about like a bat soup or something. Someone ate bat soup or some soup with bat in it, and that's how COVID sprung. But I don't really know how that happened, but that's what the news was saying at the time, and that's what they were telling us in school. So I was like, whatever. This is happening in China. Like, I don't really know. Like, is it gonna affect me? To be honest, I said no. I said this is not gonna affect me. This is not gonna affect my life. What did you think? Like, when did you first hear about it?
I think I kind of heard about it maybe like late January because I remember our school has this big like carnival that they do every single year. And I mean, I remember sort of being like, I'm not trying to catch COVID at this carnival, but I mean, what are the chances of it being here in Hawaii? And so I mean, I think I heard about then, but really, I mean, it was only starting to like be like be real. Yeah, somewhere around March, because that's really when our schools started taking precautions and things like that.
Yeah.
I think it
Um,
was like the
Adding on to what
first.
you're saying, this is what we were gonna probably say anyway. But when was the first time that not maybe got into your life, but things maybe started to get close to home, maybe not here yet, but things had a possible effect on your life.
I mean, pretty early in the year, my father sent me and my brother down, and we're like, our lives are going to be changed forever. This virus is real. The impacts it's going to have on the world is it's going to be absolutely nuts. So your lives after this will never be the same. And I mean, in some cases, like looking at it now, like in some cases, yes, but then I mean, then again, some things never change. What about you?
For me, it was like probably like maybe the week leading up to spring break of 2020, because that's when it was starting to hit closer to America. I can't fully remember every little detail, but that's when like things in the news, you'd hear the United States pop in every once in a while into the conversation. And I think the thing with that was like, I truly never thought I would be affected by it because I thought it was such a foreign thing. Um, and one connection that I kind of made was to Ebola. Like when Ebola was outbreaking over in Africa or wherever it was happening in Northern Africa, I think it was all over. I was young when it happened, but I just remember like it never came to the US because we had such strong, travel restrictions when it was happening. I remember that. But once it like yeah, one I think probably we got I'm not sure if it was an email or like a verbal like announcement that there was a strong, or not strong, but a possibility of not returning after spring break. and being online. I didn't understand why. I mean, obviously to not be around everybody, but like it was just all kind of confusing to me. And to be honest, I thought it wasn't going to happen. I thought it was just some like Jack said in the episode we did with Jack, an overreaction, unnecessary overreaction for the school to take. Um, yeah, that's when I first heard of COVID.
Yeah, I mean, like when our school started taking precautions, it was starting to heat up. COVID was starting to heat up here in Hawaii. I remember like we're all in class, and then they're like, "Open up your computers." Like, oh, okay. And then the IT department came in and they downloaded Cisco WebEx. And for those of you that don't know what it is, it's kind of like Zoom, but it's just
Pretty
by
much a Zoom.
Microsoft, and it's pretty
Yeah.
terrible. Like it's pretty terrible. But yeah, I mean that's really when it was like, I don't know, like coming into school and affecting us there. And after spring break, we didn't go back. Like I haven't
No,
been
we
back
didn't.
to in-person school since like eighth grade, eighth grade spring break.
And what's happening in a week?
Yeah, I mean we're starting back
That's
up,
pretty
and so
crazy.
yeah, that'd be
But
definitely interesting.
yeah, no, I think not. I think we'll transition now more into not returning into after spring break. Literally last week of spring break, they're like, we're extending school by 2 days. You guys are not coming back. And I think for me, that was like, no, it was like such a shock though, because I didn't expect it at all. Like I really didn't think that was gonna be a possibility. But I think throughout spring break, as week by week passed, it was slowly coming to my brain like, whoa, like this could, as the news like developed and things started exploding in the United States, like, and things were starting to close down, I was like, yeah, there's no way we're going back. But still, it was all a shock and it all kind of happened at once.
I mean, I don't know. Like when we went online, I honestly I did not mind because the first week they were figuring it out. It was
It
kind of
was
heaven.
probably,
It was
it
it
was
was
like,
super fun. I mean, like I don't know about you, but people were on like group calls like during class. Like people were playing video games and stuff like that,
yeah,
and like
yeah.
nobody knew what to do. So I mean, it was pretty sweet for us for the first week or so, and then after that, I mean, it was still good, but
Mhm.
I mean, definitely there's a huge
Yeah,
difference between online and
yeah.
in person.
I think something that's great and not really great, but it's like it was super nice to be online and like you said, we can mess around, call our friends, and like it was nice. It was like it was reality. It was our dream. Being at home and playing video games all day, like that was everyone's dream. Everybody wanted that. But after a week of it and being home, everyone was sick of it and it became a nightmare. Like it was just a terrible experience. And it was for me, especially because like I'm a very social person and I like hanging out with people in real life. Like a week online was fun. It was so fun. It was like teachers were super lenient on grades, which is something we'll kind of talk about in a little bit. All the classes were super like the teachers had no idea what they were doing. I would say for everything they did a great job. Like considering all the circumstances, considering everything that happened, I think they did a great job. There are definitely things that didn't work, but like considering everything, I think they did a great job. But like, dude, it got so bad, bro. It got so bad. What
I mean,
about? I mean,
I don't know. I don't know. For me, I liked it. Like I'd go online this year if I could. I mean, the cases
you
here are picking
would.
back up. The
Oh,
cases here are
oh.
picking back up.
Regardless of the COVID situation, would
Yeah,
you stay online?
yeah.
If
Because
we held a steady like count every day.
if there was no COVID, I'd rather be online because it's so much freedom. Like if they keep the schedule they had, or I guess, yeah, what they had, I mean, the freedom that it provides is way different. I wake up 5 minutes before my class instead of waking up 40 minutes. Normally I have to wake up, eat breakfast, go to school. I wake up 5 minutes before, open up my computer, and boom, I'm good to go. I can pretty much, thanks to teachers, they're more lenient. We could get up and go get water and snacks and things like that. I'm in my own room. Like I feel good. Like I mean, it was
Yeah,
it was it was sweet. I mean, I would stay online if I could. And I guess what you're saying is, from your perspective, you're more of a social person. You'd say, and you need the physical social interaction. For me, it's like I really value that, but also like being able to talk to people like online like this is, I mean, it's good too. Like, and not only that, you're still able to, if you do it correctly, build connections and stronger relationships with people. And I'll give you an example. You and me, I haven't
Mm,
seen you in like a year
yeah.
and a half, like
Wow,
in
that was a
person.
really
Think
damn.
about it.
That I didn't expect you to say that. Yeah, yeah,
And now, I mean, we started a podcast a couple months ago. I mean, we talk all the time, and I mean, I haven't seen you in person in a year and a half. So I mean, it's definitely possible to make real
yeah.
connections and create stronger relationships online.
I mean, I never really thought of like us, like because I always for me, I hated trying to build relationships online, like we have, because I just don't thrive like that. I can't build strong relationships online. I guess you and me is a direct contradiction to that because I can say if we compared to a year ago, like we've grown closer. We've definitely got to know more about each other, and I that's 100% blamed on the pandemic in the best way possible. But I mean, I think it's cool too. It's like we haven't been with like close, like literally IRL close to each other like at all. We haven't seen each other at all, and I think that like that, but that yet we've still managed to become closer and have a stronger relationship than we ever have. Like it's just, you know what I mean? Like it's just something interesting to me.
Yeah, I mean, like it's cool. I mean, like it's cool to see people and stuff like that out, and it's totally fun. But I mean, it does it really have that much of a difference? I don't know. I think it depends on person to person. I mean, thanks to the technology nowadays, we don't have to be in person to talk. You have things like social media. We have Zoom, Cisco WebEx, Discord, FaceTime, iMessages, things like that, so that we can interact with people.
Yeah, I agree with that, but like at the same time, it's like I think you can. I'm sure you can relate. There's nothing like being in person. There's nothing like seeing that person right in front of you. Like nothing like having the person that you want to hang out with sit in your room or to be right next to them and do things in real life. Like sitting here and talking over a camera, it's like great and all, but it's not the same at all.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, the goal is to get this, like, for us to get like a in a studio and record this. That's definitely the goal. I think the thing that's interesting is when you're online, you only have to really talk to the people that you want to. I mean,
Mm,
for the most part, the teacher would ask a question, nobody would answer it, and it'd just be silence. A lot of people I haven't seen in a while or haven't talked to them in a while. Pretty much, if I wanted to talk to you, or like if you're my close friend, then I've talked to you within the past, year or whatever. But I mean, other than that, like I guess the corona pandemic has really shown like who do you actually want to talk to? Because
yeah,
when you're not seeing them every single day, like who do you want to actually talk to? And that's interesting.
yeah. I mean, no disrespect. Like, if there's anyone listening that I haven't talked to really a lot, it's not like I don't want to be your friend, but it's like, or I wouldn't want to talk to you. Like, hit me up. Like, if you want to talk, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to say that, but like there's definitely like when it was during the, especially in the middle of the pandemic, like it was kind of nice. It was like a gift to be able to be selective about who I wanted to talk to, and
Mhm.
like not have to worry about that IRL social encounter because it's not like you can leave someone on scene like in real
Yeah.
life.
Yeah. Yeah.
But not that I would leave someone like,
Well, you
you know what I
can
mean.
actually, like, you can just see them and walk away.
But like, and if you're not trying to be disrespectful,
I
you know what I
guess.
mean.
Yeah.
Like if you're like it's easier to not talk to people you don't want to talk to.
Yeah.
There's definitely people that like in school that like I'm forced to be around because of classes or something that, to be honest, I would not talk to at all outside of the classroom,
Yeah.
respectfully.
Yeah. Same.
And because of that, I think because of COVID, I've been able to be in classes with people that I generally don't like or don't really feel like talking to, and not have to talk to them. It's nice. It's nice. I know it sounds stupid. I know it sounds mean, but like if I don't have to talk to people I don't want to talk to, and
Yeah. I mean,
it's just kind of nice.
I want to go back to my point of like not talking to, like, being selective on the people I've talked to. I mean, there's definitely a whole bunch of people I want to, like, when I go back to school, like I really want to go talk to like a whole bunch of people I haven't seen in a while and catch up with them and things like that. What I'm just saying is, I mean, like COVID was just a good way of seeing like who you really want to talk to. Not saying that if I didn't talk to you, hit you up, call you up, like I didn't want to
Yeah,
see you. It's just like, I mean, I mean, it just helps. COVID just helped to see who I actually want to
Yeah.
talk to, you know? And
Yeah, for
for,
sure.
for those of you that I did talk to, just know I want to talk to you. So, I mean, I don't know.
For those that you didn't talk to.
I mean, for those that I didn't talk to, there's a whole bunch of you that I actually want to talk to. So, like Subash said,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
just hit me up, really.
Yeah, and I think, and you want to know something funny? It's the exact same thing that Jack said. I know I've already tied back to the Jack episode, but
Hmm.
I'm just thinking about that because there was something you said that triggered that thought in my brain. Jack too said he was super selective about the people he was hanging out with, and it's
Hmm.
like I'm not trying to like sound weird by keep tying into Jack's episode, but it's just something I found a connection between that episode and this one, and I think a lot of people share that same thought.
I mean, it's interesting because as like COVID, like as I got my vaccine and things like that, and I start to go out more, you know, you have it's so different. It's so weird to see like the difference from one, like what a year can do, like
Hmm.
how people can go from like shorter than you to taller than you, from things like that,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and just like change and evolve in a year.
yeah.
Like I remember like not like I hadn't gone back to school, and so some of my friends hadn't seen me in a year. And I mean, I don't know. I don't think I really changed, but I mean,
I think I
I
did
don't know.
in a good way.
You know what?
I think I've definitely improved on myself in like being present because like with COVID, it's like it wasn't, especially in the mid heat of it, it wasn't as easy to just like normal times to hit up my friends, be like, hey, want to hang? It was like, I don't know, it's just a little bit different. Like I couldn't just like message people and be like, hey, want to hang? I was like, we have to figure out where we want to go, what's open, like what we can do,
Yeah.
and like and it was just like that. So it was like every moment that I was able, and especially after having not seen for people for a while, especially as we're gonna talk more into the summer a little bit more, but like during the summer, there's that period between like spring break and summer where I think most people didn't see a lot of their friends for a while. Um, and or definitely not as much as they usually do. And like after that kind of period of not really seeing friends a lot, it just made me value my time seeing friends a whole lot more. Like now as things start to open up and I'm seeing my friends more, it's like even though I still see my friends every day or every other day, it's like every moment I value even more
Yeah.
because it was so much different when I wasn't able to see people.
Yeah. Like, I mean, all the gatherings, like family gatherings and things like that, family traditions that you couldn't do because of COVID, fear of your life, pretty much, of, catching this thing and dying. I mean, it really puts into perspective, I mean, how much things like family gatherings matter, and how important they are. And I mean,
Yeah.
when you can't have them, it's kind of like, for me, it was kind of devastating. Like normally during the summer, like a whole bunch of my family gets together, and in, I think it was 2020, we weren't able to, and it was terrible. I hated it. Like normally
Yeah.
that's like some of the best times of the year, and I mean, it wasn't able to do it. Yeah.
And I know you in your family you had people that were at risk as well. So that
Mm.
made things a lot more complicated for you. For
Hmm.
me, it's like I didn't. I really don't. I mean, if I can't like say this 100%, but like if I got COVID, it wouldn't be as bad for me. I can't say that because I haven't gotten it, but like, it wouldn't
Yeah.
be theoretically as bad for me. And same goes for the people that live in my household. So it was like obviously I was still cautious, but it was like when my friends were ready and like we were all ready to start seeing each other again, like we did, and in a safe way. But like it was like I was not hesitant or as I don't say careful, but like I wasn't holding back as much, honestly. And I think that was a good thing and a bad thing. It was like it's not like we were doing anything unsafely, but I definitely like we didn't rush back into things, but like I wanted to see my friends a lot. But then again, it was a different situation for me. Like I didn't have people here near me, or I wasn't really seeing anybody that could have possibly been at serious risk of it. Um, so it was just for me. It was like not maybe not as bad of a situation.
Yeah. I mean, and probably go fact check this because I'm not sure how accurate it is. But I mean, I'm pretty sure I read this article about how, like, just the social impacts, like the effects Corona has had on people, like being able to talk to each other, is like huge. And I mean, normally I'm pretty comfortable when I walk into a room, I'm able to socialize and things like that. But when I was put into situations where there's like a large amount of people that I knew some, maybe I didn't know others, it's so weird. Like
Yeah, it's a
the
little
first
weird,
couple of
isn't it?
times is so odd because you haven't seen that many people in a room for for like a year. For me, I think it was maybe I was in my house for maybe like 5 months. Like, yeah, I'd go on the street, walk, maybe some things like that, grab takeout, things like that. But I mean, like realistically, I was like quarantined for like 5 months, maybe more. I think like I hadn't seen any of my friends for about a year, like maybe minus a couple of days. And I that's kind of nuts to say. Like being away from people that long is just absolutely it's absolutely nuts, and it'll be interesting to
Mhm.
see like the results of corona as the years continue. Like what are the impacts of it? Because just because we get a vaccine, and let's just say we get a vaccine for the delta variant too, right?
Yeah.
Let's just say covid gets eliminated somehow magically. I mean, the effects of it are still going to impact us for years to come. You know, I
Yeah.
know like what you want to get into was like mental health and things like that. But I mean, things like,
No, no, no. Just that we get anything can be moved and changed. So, talk all you want.
yeah, I mean, so like, I mean, just like how many people were laid off and things like that. And the
Yeah.
government, I think, don't quote me on the statistic, but I think it's like 1/3 of the money in circulation was printed in 2020 for the US. I mean, like, that's absolutely nuts. That's going to make things completely different in our lives and our kids' lives and things like that. And I mean, I don't know, just the impacts
Hmm.
that corona has had on us, like the not
Yeah.
just us actually, like the entire world is absolutely incredible. And incredible, I guess, is in a positive tone, but I guess I should really call
In
it
a neg in
devastating.
Yeah, in a negative connotation.
Yeah.
I think I had a question for you.
Yeah.
And this is as we transition more over to like a mental health standpoint of the pandemic. You said you were home, not talking to anybody, barely going outside type of stuff for 5 months. Um, how did that have an impact on you in the sense that you felt more alone?
I mean, so here's the thing. I kind of have like a big family. So, I mean, really, if I really want to go talk to people, I could. Not only that, I have a phone. I can call people up if I want to. But I mean, I guess if you're thinking about more of a like alone standpoint, like what are you doing and like motivation and things like that. I mean, I was working on projects during Corona. Like, I don't know if you want to get into it, but I was working on this one called From Anxiety to Clarity, which was a mental health series. It's on YouTube actually, where Beth Ann Kozlovich would interview different mental health professionals, and I'd pretty much produce the show, edit the show, and then manage the social medias and things like that. And then another one was Save Hawaii Jobs and Businesses, which would pretty much give PPP and CARES Act information out for free and pro bono at the time. And I mean, while I wasn't like the leader of it or any of that, just being a part of things like that was super helpful to, allow me to actually be working on something during the pandemic when everything was, flipped upside down. And yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I think something else as well is it's like you were busy and it's cool that you had people in your household. But for me, it was a different experience. Like I don't live with a lot of people. I live like my parents are divorced, so I live with one at a time. And even still, with some having siblings in the house, some having not, it still was lonely for me, bro. Like and it's not trying to sound like in a depressing way, but it was like I just felt way more alone. Like it was I got used to loneliness too, or
Yeah.
not being lonely, just solitude. Like it felt like I was living on my own planet. Like I was in my own prison cell. It wasn't really a prison cell, but like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The only way I could talk to people was through a jail phone or like through scheduled visits.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was just terrible. It was so dumb, and it was like not dumb, but it was like it just felt dumb. It felt stupid. Like
Yeah.
it was just and all the time, bro, all the time. Even still today, I'll wake up and be like, what the heck? Where are we? Like, what is happening in the world right now? Like, this is insane. Like, this is unreal. This can't be real. Like,
Yeah.
I'll wake up and tell myself, this can't be real. This can't be real. Like, this has to be some like feverish hell demon terrible dream. Like there's no way I'm living in this world. Like it's just it's just insane to me. And
Yeah.
it's this is crazy. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I mean, the thing is like, who could have predicted this? Like seriously, who could have predicted this? And they'll be like, "Oh, Bill Gates, he said we got to work on vaccines." No. Come on now. I could throw out a couple predictions, in the next 100 years there's going to be another pandemic and there's going to be a
Yeah.
market crash and things like that, and dinosaurs may be coming back alive and things like that. But I mean, you can throw as much darts on the wall as
Yeah.
you want, and whether or not they hit or not,
This hit like a rock, bro. This so the
eh,
pandemic hit like a rock. Um, I want to start talking now about the 2020-2021 school year.
okay.
Um, we started off online, which same old, same old. No need really to go into that. But summer happened. No one. We kind of just stayed home, chilled out. We get into the year, the school year. We were online for the first month and a half. Then we had talks of coming back. For those of you out there who don't know, I went back to school and Coco did not. Obviously, Coco had no, but it's not. Coco had people at risk at home, and I was low key forced to go, and I probably would have gone regardless because I really wanted to go. But I mean, you can talk about what was your experience like continuing online while there were people that were while there were people in person.
I mean, I was used to it. I am used to it. Like I mean, I like it. You know, like I said before, if I was given the opportunity right now, whether or not to go in person or to stay at home, I choose at home because it's just better. Like my schedule is way more flexible and it allows me to do a whole bunch of different things. Um, but yeah, I mean, I guess it's super great to be able to see people and things like that. And so maybe I'd like to go back for, a couple of days or whatever. But I mean, online to me is it's just superior. I like people being able to learn online. It's changing the game, man. And I mean, we're gonna
I
do an
can
episode on school, but I mean,
Yeah, we're gonna
yeah.
have a full episode on school, and it's not really gonna be more COVID related. It's gonna be more about the aspects of like school itself. Stay tuned for that. If you guys are on YouTube, subscribe. If you guys are on Apple Music, follow, whatever. Do everything you need to do to stay tuned with us because we have some really great episodes coming up, and that one's gonna be a good one as well. But I mean, you know, I think for me, it was like going back to school was a blessing, regardless of how kind of like bad it was. Like no disrespect to my school, but it was terrible. And I don't think anyone thought it was good. Like it was terrible. Like it was such a bad
Uh,
experience in person. No, like
oh,
it
in
just was.
person.
Yeah, in person.
Wait, you mean
Like
online or in person?
in
Oh,
person.
okay,
The
okay.
first time going back in person. Like it was and because at the time we still had really heavy restrictions, so it was like
Hmm.
things were a little bit super regulated. You literally couldn't really do anything. Masks all day, which is probably the worst thing out of everything, having to wear a mask all day.
Yeah.
Uh, it was just like I was just happy to be back there. And I think the schedule is a little bit different. Like we only had two classes a day for 2 hours at a time, and then we
Hmm.
had like a break in the middle. So versus like 4 1 hour classes or something like that with afternoon classes and stuff. But like it was still super like just different, and I was just happy to be back. And what would you say are your overall thoughts on like the first semester of that year?
I mean, it was. See, it to me, it really depends on the teacher because the teacher's ability to teach like online is the X factor. I mean, luckily I had pretty much completely awesome teachers and they were able to teach me fantastically online. Like, I mean, I was taking like a shop class. It's an engineering course, but I mean, it's pretty much a shop class and you're like building things hands on, and I was able to do that online. And while I missed out on certain opportunities, like they did such a good job being able to like teach me still and get a whole bunch of things so that I actually learned a whole bunch. And that class was super challenging. And that's something because normally, like online school would be considered easier, I think. But I mean, for just those classes and like pretty much every single class, it challenged me, you know, and I learned a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I would just I think it's just me being me and you being you. I just had a different experience online. I didn't find the same source of excitement when I was online. I didn't enjoy it. I practically hated it. Uh, I I just didn't like it. It was just not fun. But I think for me, as we started moving into 2021, there's a little bit of like of a breath of fresh air, I would say, because the year was over. I describe it as the worst year of my life because I think it quite literally was the worst year of my life. Other people have very differing opinions, but I think aside from COVID, a lot of things happened like in my personal life. It's just
Yeah.
terrible. Just like everything bad happened. It was just a terrible year. But as we moved into 2021, it was like I was happy that it was kind of like a breath of fresh air. That's how I felt. Like I was excited for things to start wrapping up. I was excited for things to be done. Um, and we're getting close to that, which is really exciting. Hopefully, you know what I mean. Like things are
Yeah.
definitely different. They're different than they were a year ago. And I'm just really, really excited for that. And I think you know what I mean? Like it was just the thought of the future that kept me going the whole time. Like the thought of like the thought of like brighter days. Like
Hmm.
that's what kept me going. And as we moved into the second semester of the year, like the restrictions at school started lightening up a little bit. And some of my friends that were online started coming back because they had the opportunity to do that in the second semester. So it was
Hmm.
nice to see some unfamiliar faces and things started looking up.
I mean, I guess the whole thing is really what you make of it. And I mean, for some people, must have been horrible. I cannot say because I'm in really good circumstances, but I mean, you know, I saw this quote on Instagram, and yes, it's the cheesy and classic Instagram quotes you'd see, and it said, "2020 gave us lemons, and what you choose to do it, and what you choose to do with it is up to you." Are you gonna make lemonade, or are you just gonna bite them and
Yeah.
make it sour? I don't know. I thought that I was able to turn it into lemonade, and for me, these past couple of years have really just been a learning opportunity. And while at times it's terrible, and things I absolutely am not a fan of, and just
Mhm.
overall this whole situation I'm not a fan of. But whether or not, if they're like, if you go back, right, would you go through this again? I think I would, because like some of the lessons I learned and things throughout these past couple of years is invaluable. Some of the things I learned are things that I live by to today. And I don't think that other circumstances could have taught me the same way it did. What about you?
Um, Again, I don't like to think of things in a negative connotation, but 2020 gave me a rainfall of atomic bombs. And this year, instead of lemons, it was atomic bombs. And this year I'm cleaning up the ashes. It's like it's just a lot different. And it's like I try to see the positive in every situation, but 2020 didn't really, it just kind of set me back rather than push me forward.
Mm.
Just for me as a person, like it just I feel like a kid. There's like monkey leashes that they like wear, like a kid, like little kids wear like a backpack and the mother's holding a leash and the kid's running but she's holding the
Mhm. Yeah.
like kid leashes, right? Or like a dog leash. I feel like a dog on a leash, bro. Like and COVID is the owner. COVID is the master, and it's pulling me back, bro. Like that's just kind of what I feel. That's just how I feel.
Yeah. I mean, I'm and I mean for people, it was like 2021 summer's going to be super hype. So I mean, how was your summer?
This year,
Yeah.
my summer was amazing. I traveled a lot safely. And I was fortunate to be able to go to multiple places. I didn't travel outside the country because there's not really anything to do, to be honest. Like it's kind of shut down. Uh, but it gave me a chance. I went on a road trip. And hung out with my mom. I hung out in Colorado. It was nice, and it was definitely I hadn't been gone really, so it was nice. It was really nice. How about you?
I mean, I was kind of
What's
stuck in my
new?
house for the beginning
Yeah.
of it and all, but I mean, honestly, super productive, I think. Um, that was the goal, make it super productive, have some fun and things like that. And I mean, I was able to see people, people I hadn't seen in a while. I was able to go out with friends. I was able, like, we were able to start this podcast. And I mean,
Yeah. Here's my question. Do you wish we started this podcast a year ago? And I know this is something we'll talk about more in episode 25, but we're talking in the perspective of COVID. Do you think we should have started this a year ago?
this podcast would look a lot different if COVID didn't happen. Um, because I learned how to like manage podcasts during COVID and things like that. And
Yeah.
I mean, this might actually, if we had started a podcast a couple years ago or whatever it is,
A year
the
ago,
re
in the mid
the
of the
yeah,
pandemic.
the rec oh, in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah, this is not pre-pandemic. This is like a year ago. Do you think things would be different?
Yeah, yeah. I think we definitely needed the time. We definitely needed the time, and this podcast has been in the works for a pretty good amount of time. But I mean, yeah, I think we needed the time to develop, to get certain perspectives and things like that, and grow through certain things before we could start
Mhm.
this podcast. And really, this podcast is a product of that. All the lessons we've learned in this past couple of years and everything we've learned so far, all those things, leading to this one podcast. And I think that's why, in my opinion, it's so good.
I think for me, I agree with everything you just said, but it's like I think we right now, like as we'll talk about in episode 25, which is going to be the episode that we talk about everything related to the podcast, how we started it, everything. And bro, I'm hoping that'll be our first episode in person together. Anyway, episode 25, you guys, is going to be the episode where we talk about everything related to how basically this entire project started. Um, so yeah, we'll talk about more. We'll talk more about it then. But for me, I think if we did this podcast a year ago, um, I wouldn't say we would have quit by now, but I think we would have been heavily discouraged. And I think that's because, like I said, we have a lot of ideas coming for the podcast in the future, and COVID would have pushed all those ideas back to a point where it seems like an unforgiving, it's not going to happen. And it wouldn't have really, it wouldn't have the things we have planned. If we wanted to do them a year ago, would not have happened. They wouldn't, or they would be waiting until now. We would be here. So it's like, it would have been just the motivation aspect of it would have been a lot different, but it's like the hopes of like the future and like things getting better and, our plans actually coming into fruition. It's something, and then it's like more and more possible now. It's
Yeah.
just like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Things don't look the best sometimes, but then they turn out to be good. I don't know. I know you want to get into the mental health aspect, so you want to hop right into that.
Yeah, I mean, kind of talking more about like the brain aspects of it. Like we talked about being alone, but like, how did it feel like? Did you ever feel trapped?
I mean, like I'll be honest, sometimes I feel alone. I feel alone all the time, but whether or not, it lasts or I allowed I allow it to choose to affect me is a different thing. And I mean, the mental health numbers skyrocketed during Corona, and a whole bunch of problems just got exacerbated during the coronavirus pandemic, and that's absolutely terrible. And I mean, it's really bad, but then in another way, mental health has kind of gotten destigmatized. You have all these athletes coming out, and now, like, it's okay to not be okay and things like that. And I mean, sometimes you just need to talk. I mean, these past couple of years have been absolutely crazy, and fortunately, like, we've been able to talk to people and things like
Mhm.
that, talk to each other, and have a support system. But for people that don't, I mean,
Yeah, I think there are a lot of people out there that didn't like. We both have like loving families. Like we have families that care about us. We have people around us that care about us. And it's like if we were in a situation where we need to talk to somebody, like we would have people to talk to. But I
mhm.
think there's a lot of people out there that like just definitely didn't. And like it was harder for them. And basically you know, just didn't have the same level of I guess connection that we had to the people around us. But I think that, yeah, mental health was definitely a big topic throughout the pandemic. And it's something I wanted to touch on because I think it was just interesting. And there's a lot going on right now. The Delta variant of COVID-19 has started to swarm in to the United States, which is something that seems absolutely terrible. I will not be ecstatic to go back in lockdown. I do not want it either. Like, come on, bro. Please no. Uh it's just so ass. There's no other way to put it. It's bad, bro. It's bad. I'm hoping that,
Bad but necessary sometimes. The funnest things aren't always,
nah,
what you
bro.
want, but I
It's
mean,
different for me.
sometimes it's necessary.
Like I get that you like being at home and like online, but like I hate it. Like I hate it with a passion. Like like it's so like there's definitely people out there that love it and like to live their life that way, but like not me, bro. I hated it. And it's like I just hope that, it doesn't become a big thing. I'm hoping it just kind of stops. And I mean, I know it doesn't happen like that, but I'm hoping it's not going to be as big as an outbreak as, the first variant of like the first COVID-19 variant that shut everything down is I think for not only our economy, not only for the people, but like for everything, another shutdown would just be like devastating because it's literally starting over again. Anyway, we hope you guys enjoyed today's episode on COVID-19. Again, one we've been looking forward to, one we hope you guys enjoy and can relate to, because I think a lot of people will be able to relate to today's episode. If you guys enjoyed it, if you're on YouTube, subscribe. Drop a comment down below. What was your favorite part? What was something you agreed with? What was something you maybe disagreed with or had a different opinion or thought or experience on? If you guys are on Apple Podcasts, leave a review, 5 stars, please, preferably, and write something. We'll read it and we appreciate it. If you're on Spotify, follow. If you're over on Instagram, follow us at FYI podcast _. Anything else you would like to add?
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing is absolutely crazy, and this is just, our perspective on it. But it would be interesting to see how much longer this thing lasts. And with that being said, thank you for letting us fill you in, and we will see you in the next episode.